The imperfect life. Happy New Year, you guys. I'm just thinking about how my life hasn't been perfect and how I think nobody's life is perfect. I have spent the last few days, kind of some stuff came up about my marriage. I didn't want to make a video about it and be like another complainer, but the truth is, I think that everybody has aspects of their life that aren't how they intended, hasn't worked out how you wanted in your job. Maybe you wanted children and you could never have them. Maybe you had children and they were a disappointment. You didn't end up with the career you wanted. You had some health issues. Um, your people in your family are suffering with something. You have to watch it. You can't do anything about it to save them. Um, Maybe you're in an unhappy relationship. You don't like your boss. You feel trapped in your job. There are so many things that can go wrong. And I'm here to say that there is no such thing as a perfect life. Our lives are imperfect. It's part of the deal that we make when we're born. It's going to be imperfect. I think that people look for perfection in some kind of fantasy or infantile wish that we were back in the womb or cradled in mom and dad's loving arms. But even that isn't perfect because it's limiting and it's trapping and we're not really free. But then when we are free, we interact with the world in ways which are often unpleasant. We look at magazines and movies that are fabricated as a way of seeing what could be ours. And it isn't. It feels so wrong. We look at, I'm going to say we, but I think people will look at, including me, Instagram, Facebook, how other people portray their perfect lives. Another fabrication of just showing the good. They don't show you when they're arguing, struggling with money, going through a divorce. Um, it's all fake. It's all pretend. I don't believe anymore what people show me. You have to really know someone to know who they really are and what their lives are really like. And the difficult thing is making peace with what is and accepting what is while still having some kind of inner passion and drive and aliveness to not be too agitated by the imperfection and still have some drive to create some kind of change. I think that's the challenge of being human. I want to say one other thing about accepting what is, because I'm kind of struggling with this right now as I'm feeling some uncomfortable feelings come up, about my last relationship that I think was, I was so wronged, it was so unfair, or why did this happen, or why was it that way? Why wasn't I able to create this relationship that I really wanted? So in my case, I don't want that person. It's not about wanting that person. It's about the kind of life that I wanted and the kind of relationship that I wanted. And being in a 25-year marriage with someone who didn't want that same kind of thing and not really being able to let that go often. Like some things still come up for me about it. But um, I I talked to someone today that helped me feel a lot better about it and get some better perspective. So I think talking to people is really good. But what it kind of reminds me of is, when you're disciplining a child or leading a child, say you're putting a child down for a nap. This is an easy one. The child does not want to go to sleep. He keeps getting up, or he's like playing, or he's crying. Like he just does not want to go to sleep. He wants to keep playing. And he's so angry that he has to go to sleep, does not want to go to sleep. Or he really wants the cookie, but he can't have the cookie. It's too much sugar. He hasn't had dinner yet. So Think about a child crying because he wants a cookie he can't have or he doesn't want to take a nap. But you know, as the parent, it's the loving thing to do for him to take a nap because he's tired and he needs sleep, or it's not good for him to have the cookie, but the child just can't accept it. The child, and you're thinking as the adult, if you could just like accept this, like it's the loving thing to just accept the situation. And that's what I think of a lot when I don't want to accept something, that I'm just like a bratty little infant not wanting to do what maybe is probably the best thing for me. You know, that in the relaxing and the letting go and just the accepting of that situation, I will find some peace. And that's what I wanted to leave you guys with today, is that instead of being like in our head so much about what's wrong and why can't things be different, which is the human nature to never be happy in this moment, except for brief periods maybe where your life is going perfectly well, but it never stays that way anyway. People have a hard time accepting what is, almost as if I don't keep fighting this moment, if I just accept this moment, I will just go into my life will just spiral downward. You know, like I have to fight it. I have to fight this moment. I have to fight what is. I have to fight my feelings. Like this fighting, this internal fighting against what is. That's the real cause of the pain. I'm actually helping myself as I'm talking. I'm realizing as I'm talking, like my discomfort really comes from my fight with not with life, but with my own perception of that it should be different. Either things out here should be different, or my feelings shouldn't be there. There's something wrong in this moment. I'm fighting. And what if I could just let all that go and just accept the feelings that are there, the life that I had, the past, and this moment. And imagine the little baby or the little child screaming for the cookie or not wanting to go to sleep, and they finally surrender. They do. They finally surrender and they just accept it, and they drift off to sleep happily, or they stop thinking about the cookie and start playing, because they don't have that strongly developed mind control wheel thing going, where they just hold on to things and they just let go, and now they're at peace. And that's a great gift. That's a great gift. And then what actually happens from that moment of being at peace, that's where new growth can flourish. It can't come in the struggle. Nothing good or creative comes out of that inner fighting and resisting of life. Life is difficult, life is hard, and there is no perfect life. I really admire my mom. She has this really highly developed ability of flexibility, of not minding what is. And I think that's a necessary condition to powerfully go through life. Like the tree that bends in the wind, the skyscraper that bends in the wind, because the rigidity is what snaps the tree. The rigid tree snaps when the wind comes, but the tree that's flexible doesn't mind the wind. It just bends and bends and bends. And I think that we have to be at the point, I think that we have to not mind the winds of life. Yeah. I think that was a good video. I actually helped myself feel better. And that's good. Yeah. It's New Year's Day. I I skipped my Pilates today. I wanted to have the day off in case I was gonna, see some family or something. I don't know if I will or not, but I'm still in my pajamas. Um, and here's my imperfect life. I didn't clean up the stuff. It's, here's my messy floor. I'm imperfect. I'm imperfect too. Um, Showing you my messy living room. My slippers from last night, my coffee cup. Um, I got the tripod out because I thought I was gonna make it for this video, but I like making the videos sitting right here on my sofa. I just feel more relaxed, more conversational, and not like I have to perform for a video. And I think my videos are better. I didn't put any makeup on first. Um, I think this is a good way for me to make videos where things just kind of flow. And one more thing I want to say about acceptance is that I had some really great coaches a few years ago, and she taught me one thing. She said that there are 3 steps to changing. A lot of people, you acknowledge that you have a certain problem. My life isn't how I want it. I don't have the job I want. I don't have the relationship I want. I have a problem. I'm acknowledging the problem. Acknowledge. And then people want to take action. They want to change the problem. I got to get that relationship. I have to get my spouse to change. I have to get a different job. How can I get along with my boss? I don't like how I feel. Action. Got to get rid of this feeling. But there's a step in between that is the most important step before you take action that people skip and that I've been skipping, and that's acceptance. The acceptance step, and that's what I do in when I coach clients. That's why I don't want to have an avatar or a niche. Accepting your feelings is a huge turning point for people, because people are constantly struggling against certain feelings they don't want to have. Okay, when you accept your feelings, everything relaxes. You create a space for that feeling to be there, and then the feeling actually unwinds and releases. It's kind of like think of these feelings as like something you're holding really tight in your hand. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. I don't like the situation in my life. But when you accept it, it's like you're releasing the grip, and it's no longer this tension inside of you, and it can just open and release, and poof, it's gone. And that's for me in, thinking I've been wronged in the situation. Let's say I've been so wronged, it's so lame, but I've been so wronged, just holding on to that, and I'm going to accept that part of me that feels so wronged, just feeling so wrong, like it's okay, poof. And I'm not sure if that really worked. Maybe that wasn't a good example. I'm struggling with what I'm actually feeling is that it's not okay for me to say that I feel wronged. I'm judging myself for that. I'm not allowing myself to actually feel that, because I think that it's complaining, victim mentality, wrong, bad, powerless, weak. The thing though is, it's actually there for me, and because I'm judging it, I'm not accepting it for being there. And that's why it's hard for me even to take my own advice sometimes, because certain feelings will come up and they're repressed. Often they're repressed before people even know that they're there. That's how people end up finding out they're gay in their 30s or 40s. They repress that part of their sexuality. Certain feelings you might judge as being unacceptable. And so as they barely even come to your awareness, they're immediately repressed. And for me, that's being wronged. A feeling that I was wronged, or like some kind of a victim, like, well, how long is she gonna, like you guys judging me, how long is she gonna keep talking about this? I don't want to hear her complain anymore. So I need to process that off camera. I'm gonna do that and then come back, because I can't do it in front of you guys. So let me try that and come right back. Okay, so as I struggled to let myself feel wronged, I imagined that I had a whole room full of other ladies here. We're all talking about feeling wronged, and there's a safe space to have that feeling of being wronged, that I'm judging myself for as being weak and helpless and victimy, which for you could be a feeling of neediness, dependency, helplessness, jealousy, rage, anger. Everyone has their own these feelings that they judge themselves for. So I have this space of when we're all allowing ourselves to feel wronged. And then I noticed that feeling was really this heavy feeling in my chest, like this big lump. So then I turned my attention to that feeling in my body where I felt this heaviness, and allowed that feeling to be there in my chest. And then I just allow that feeling to be there, and I give it space, and it just dissolved and it's just gone. So that's how you do your emotional work, is you find the feeling in your body, you give it permission to be there, and you allow it to be there. That's another one people are afraid of, certain feelings like loneliness, sadness. I just want to share briefly, I did this with loneliness a couple years ago, because I used to feel really lonely in my apartment living alone. And I was afraid to face my loneliness, and it was this deep abyss in this pit of my stomach. And I remember one night saying, fuck it, God, I'm just going to go jump into this lonely abyss in my stomach, just feel it in my body. I don't care if it swallows me up. I'm just tired of feeling lonely. And that one only took like 5 seconds. I went mentally inside that space in my abdominal area, and the loneliness was gone. I have to say, I haven't felt lonely once since then. You go into these feelings, they actually release. Okay, I didn't come up with the technique, it's a shamanic technique, but that's the key. So I did that with that lump in my here. The second part then that I do is I question my thoughts. Like, okay, I have now, it doesn't have that hold over me physically. I'm like, was I really wrong? Like, is that the thought I want to have? Because I can choose my thoughts. Think Louise Hay, think Byron Katie, I can choose my thoughts. So now I'm going to go and do something else. Okay, that's kind of, yeah, I think we all have to find a way of dealing with a life that's imperfect through some kind of acceptance, and then finding that peace so that you can just kind of go on. And then a couple other things I think that are really super helpful is to, there's certain things that happen in the world of the physical body that can make life a lot more pleasant, which is getting out of the comfort zone with exercise and food. Like, find the foods that feed your body and feed your energy. Do exercise. We're meant to move. When people don't exercise, they can get lethargic and depressed very quickly. Force yourself to socialize. Force yourself to put on a nice outfit to brighten your mood. There is another myth that, life is just going to be great through no effort. It takes effort to feel good. Feeling good is not free. It takes energy and it takes effort. So, and people don't put any effort and they're depressed. You have to put in effort to maintain joy in the world. It takes effort. Think of a car, I think of a lake, the water doesn't move. It just sits there, you know. It gets slimy and gross. You have to have fresh water coming in. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to move your body, drink enough water, get enough sleep, reach out in social situations. You have to get out of your comfort zone or you just die a slow death energetically. That's for sure. You have to get out of your comfort zone. And I think life forces us out of our comfort zones to force that kind of change. And, you know, like the little kid kicking and screaming, I want things to stay as they are. And I think we just have to let go and accept and just, you know, like Eckhart Tolle says, it's like, don't mind what is. I think that's like an important skill. Like, don't mind what is. I'm going to leave you with that. We have to get to the point where we don't mind what is. And just be like, okay. Maybe adopt some kind of a mindset of, okay, before I came into this life and into this body, I knew these things were going to happen. I set my life up. If you can imagine this, we might as well imagine this at the same way we imagine something worse. I set this life up. This is the life I wanted so I could learn these lessons. And this is the life I created for myself. And I'm not going to fight it because this was my intention. And so I'm not going to fight it because this is actually in my highest good. The things that are happening now, which seem like they're so horrible, like the little baby not wanting to nap and the little baby screaming for a cookie, having to do this life and these things that are here actually in my highest good, I just can't see it. Okay, these things are actually in my highest good, even though I can't see it. It's teaching me something, it's preparing me for something. And focusing on that, that's where our mind comes in. Like, we get to use our mind instead of running on some autopilot program. And that's what I'm going to leave you guys with now. And again, Happy New Year, and thank you for watching my video.